Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Bleeding Blueshirts. John Giannone, Steve Valiquette with you. We come to you before game 42. So we are at the midway point of the season. Rangers will face the Minnesota Wild next, and the Dallas Stars after that, Tuesday and Thursday night at Madison Square Garden. But Steve, probably a good time to kind of take a step back, assess what we've seen so far and what we should expect to see in the second half. I posed the question to you quickly the other day on the postgame show with Henrik. Rangers have 51 points at the midway point. If they repeat that, it's 102 points. Is that good enough to make the playoffs?
Yes, it will be good enough to get in. It's going to be very interesting because of how tight the Metro is. And maybe we see 5 teams come out of the Metro, which would be really neat. That's something we have not seen in recent years. I think that at the same time, you have to take this time right now at the 41 game mark. You really want to assess your team. Where are you? How has the season gone so far? How did we get here? You want to assess your overall game, because game to game, it doesn't always reflect the full picture of 41 games, meaning the last game, what happened, right? And the last game being Saturday afternoon at the Rock wasn't the best outcome for the Rangers. How can we build off of what we learned from that game and be better against the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday and against Dallas on Thursday? So that's where you're looking at your particular game right now, because when we talk about the game, right, John, we're always talking week to week. So it's a new week. What did we learn last week? And I think you're also looking at a time at 41 games. We have to assess our players properly. It's so important right now to know what you have, because you have to know what do we have to go and acquire, because we're already going to start having that conversation a lot now. It's going to be March before you know it. And things are going to move very quickly. And a lot of deals, just like last year, got done well before the deadline.
Mm-hmm. You could assess, Steve, the Rangers' best offensive player, the Rangers' best defensive player, the Rangers' best three-zone player. But without doubt, the most valuable player on the Rangers is Igor Shesterkin. Clearly, with what he's done so far, especially during the recent stretch where the Rangers went 11-3-1, you can point to him refinding his brilliance as a huge reason why that happened. My question to you is, he's angling toward more than 60 games. We saw him lose the last 4 games he played in the playoffs as May was about to turn to June. Is 60 or more games too many for him, the right number for him, knowing that he would play every single playoff game? Where do you assess his workload as much as what he's done so far?
It was Marc-Andre Fleury that was the only goalie to win a Stanley Cup playing 60 or more games over the last 25 years. Teams pay attention to this. You do not want your goalie playing 60 plus games. You don't. You're not going to win a Stanley Cup. What are we doing here? That's what it's all about, right? It's not about just getting in or getting a matchup that you want. It's about being able to go through. Let's rewind to Saturday afternoon against the New Jersey Devils. Do you remember before the game, John, I was telling you about how the Devils on Thursday versus St. Louis had 15 high danger chances?
Right.
Well, Saturday afternoon, the Rangers allowed Igor to face 15 high danger chances from the Devils. John, too much, right? Too much. That's 2 games worth. The Rangers, if they're playing well, should be allowing 5, 6, or 7 high danger against a game, not 15. I went back and I looked up the last 2 seasons of teams that have allowed 15 high danger chances against. There were 14 games, and the record was 11-3 in favor of the team that had the 15 high danger. You can't win. The Rangers have now given up in the last 3 or 4 games 10 or more high danger, and they're just kind of tracking the wrong way that way, John. Offensively, I have to say that since the December 5th game, and you and I talk a lot about the turning point of the season, I think a lot of the fans may think it's the Chicago game when Trouba throws his helmet and gets everybody to wake up. I still go 1 game forward to the St. Louis game on the 5th of December, because that was the comeback, coming from behind in the 3rd period. I can't imagine what we're talking about right now, John, if the Rangers had lost that game December 5th.
Right.
The positive is offensively at 5-on-5. Do you remember how bad the shooting percentage was over the first couple of months of the season? Now, I was looking at this earlier, but 5-on-5 goals per game since that December 5th win against St. Louis, the Rangers are 4th in the NHL. So that's really good, because we know in the playoffs when things get tighter, you're going to get fewer power play opportunities. If the Rangers can stay in and around 5th overall in the NHL at goals per game at 5-on-5, because I know they create enough and now they're finishing enough, it seems to me like they're tracking really well offensively. And a big piece of that, John, is how well the defense have helped out offensively. Because I think as of today, they're second in the NHL in production from their D as well.
All right, so let's go back to what you had just said about allowing too many high danger chances. Where does the fault lie? Where does the improvement have to happen beginning Tuesday?
All right, so I watched the high danger chances on video this morning, and you know what I saw? No back check, no pressure, time and space. These are all things that don't allow your goalie to read and assess and then make a play positionally. I thought it was really it bothered me. But, you know, we talked about this in the post game. And if we rewind a little further to the December 12th New Jersey Ranger game, do you remember how much that game meant to the Rangers?
Right.
It was huge, right, John? Because if you look at the month of December, the Rangers beat the Devils and stopped their win streak on the road. They snuffed out the Toronto Maple Leafs in their 15-game winning streak. And then January 3rd, they beat the Carolina Hurricanes on their winning streak. And then you look at the wins over, I guess, Vegas, you could say Colorado, but they were depleted in December. But all in all, they had a lot of big wins. So you know what I wonder a lot about now, John? Are the Rangers... Are they showing us signs by losing Saturday afternoon to the Devils that they don't love being the contender? That game Saturday afternoon meant more to the Devils. That's what we were talking about in the post game. It just did. So we've seen it on both sides of the coin. I don't know if the Rangers like being the hunter or the hunted. And that's where they have to figure it out. When they get to the top again, because they're pushing towards the top, they've really had that kind of a push in December where they've righted their season. When they get back to the top and we know they're a contender, can they then hold serve against the big teams in the big games when they have it? And that's, I don't know, are you sure you feel the same way?
Yeah, without doubt. And if you look at the second half schedule, it's going to be a lot more challenging games because most of the teams they play still are considering themselves to be playoff contenders. And that starts on Tuesday against the Minnesota Wild team at the Garden that has been pretty good for most of the season. I would dare say maybe has overachieved a little bit. Of course, Kirill Kaprizov is one of the most dynamic players in the league. Gustafsson has been a revelation as a goaltender, but they have some situations going on. Size up and break down what we're going to see on Tuesday night.
So for the defensive side of the puck, the Rangers over their last stretch of a month and a half have kind of taken a step back. They're giving up a lot more, as are the Minnesota Wild. And both teams love to go. Minnesota's got a very good undercover sneaky offense too. And I think that we're going to see another one of those games where it starts very positional and it starts tight and it starts measured because you've got a team from the Western Conference that you don't see frequently and you feel each other out for the first 10, and then a hockey game breaks out. And then when one team goes and Kaprizov goes one way, Panarin's licking his chops and he wants to go the other way, and they want to outdo each other. I think it's going to be a fun hockey game. I think it's going to be a hockey game that the coaches don't love, but the players enjoy and the fans really get a lot of entertainment out of.
We will have it for you on MSG 6:30 with the pregame. Steve and I will be hosting, and then on Sam and Joe will have the call. I'll be between the benches. And then on Thursday night, Rangers and Dallas Stars at the Garden. Henrik Lundqvist will join us for that. Second half embarks on Tuesday night. It's going to be fun, Steve. Looking forward to it. Thanks, bud.
I am too, John. I can't wait, buddy.